Now, the race for Cameroon's presidency is still on, but the opposition candidate Issa Chiroma, a long-time ally and the former spokesperson for President Paul Biya, has claimed victory in the 12th of October election.
Je vais le dire avec gravité et simplicité.
I will say it with gravity and simplicity. The people have chosen, and this choice must be respected. I call on all institutions, all administrative authorities, all officials not to become enemies of the people they are supposed to serve. The time of fear, manipulation, and false calculations is over. The only side that matters today is that of Cameroon.
Le temps de la peur, de la...
What happened in Cameroon shocked everybody. No one actually believed that Paul Biya was touchable. You know, in Cameroon and in the whole of Africa, after 43 years in power, it was unbelievable to think that Paul Biya would lose election in Cameroon. But at last, it happened. We are here. This October, the unimaginable happened in Cameroon after a man that was imprisoned by Paul Biya came out and defeated him in the polls. Now, who is this man that we're talking about? His name is Issa Chiroma. He's a politician in Cameroon. He was imprisoned by Paul Biya for crimes that he did not commit. Now, this man came right out of prison and then he won the elections. Now, the same government that once locked away Issa, it's now sitting down and watching him claim the presidency of Cameroon. And Cameroonians are very excited because, for Christ's sake, Paul has been in power for over 43 years. And it seemed like he was never going to come down from that seat. He seemed like it was his birthright. He wanted to just sit down there and control the people after how many years. Things are changing and people of Africa have hope that someday soon, things are going to change for the better. Now, the problem is that you know how African leaders are. They will not want to leave that seat. Paul Biya has been in power since 1982. That man is 90-something years old. He has refused to come down. The question is, will this man accept to come down from this seat? Will he accept defeat? Will he agree and do the honorable thing to say, I have lost to Issa, let me step down? Because power seems like this man's second skin. It doesn't look like grandpa of 92 years old is about to step down anytime soon. But what do we know? We will just continue to be hopeful. This is not just another election story or gist. It is a very critical moment in the history of Cameroon. It is a story of how Africa's oldest dictatorship cracked or maybe disappear. We are hoping that he does the honorable thing and really accepts defeat. Paul Biya was more than a leader. He was a system. Under him, competence was nothing. It was all about loyalty. That's why they didn't change minister. They didn't do anything for so ministers were in the same position for decades without change because they were just loyal to him. It didn't matter whether they knew what they were doing or not. As long as they were loyal to Paul Biya, they remained ministers. And that is what Issa is coming to threaten. And we are hoping that Paul Biya really sees that his time is up and he gets down from that seat. I think Biya was so comfortable and so confident that he was going to win an election, and that's why he announced that he will be running again for presidency. Little did he know that there was a surprise coming for him. But tell me, I think it's only in Africa that we'll see somebody wanting to contest as a president the 8th time. Like, you've been president. Like, is it your birthright? Why do you want to sit down in that position and just be contesting for the 8th time? My goodness, that is absolutely ridiculous. But that is exactly what Paul Biya did when he came out and said he wanted to run for presidency again in Cameroon. He was contesting for the 8th time. In 1984, after a failed coup attempt against Biya, the regime launched a purge across northern Cameroon. Hundreds of men were rounded up, accused, tortured, or killed. Among them was a young engineer named Issa Chiroma. He was imprisoned for 7 years without trial, beaten, humiliated, left to rot in silence. Most of his fellow prisoners didn't survive. Eventually released in 1991, he had every reason to flee the country, but he didn't. He stayed. And instead of revenge, Tichiroma chose strategy. He studied the system that crushed him. He learned the languages, he learned his weaknesses. He joined politics, entered parliament, and eventually rose to become Minister of Communication, the spokesman for the very man who once jailed him. Many called him a sellout, but he called it patient. He defended government policies that he didn't believe in, even denying the existence of Anglophone crisis, a stance for which he later publicly apologized. In a stunning confession in Bamenda, he told crowds, "I was just a mouthpiece." What appeared as loyalty was in hindsight infiltration. Because when Tichiroma finally broke ranks with Biya in 2025, he did it with a single line that would become the slogan of the revolution. "If I tell you to vote for someone responsible for your suffering, consider me your enemy." That sentence cut through the country like lightning. Interestingly, Cameroon's opposition had always been its own worst enemy. Divided, disorganized, and easily manipulated. The system depended on it. Cameroon has no runoff elections. Whoever gets the most votes wins, even if it's only by 30%. This means that if 10 opposition candidates each get a few percent, Biya can still win less than half. That means if 10 opposition candidates each get a few percent, Biya can win with less than half the vote. But something changed in 2025. Before I continue further, tell me if you're enjoying this video. If yes, kindly like, share, leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more on African gist and news. This time, it isn't politicians but the people themselves who organized online. Young voters began a campaign across WhatsApp, Facebook, and TikTok. One candidate, one chance. They begged opposition leaders to unite behind the one person who could actually win. And when they refused, the people chose for themselves. They rallied behind Issa Tichiroma, the man who had suffered, learned, and survived this regime's brutality. In the Grand North, where nearly half of Cameroonian voters live, crowds began forming in sizes not seen in decades. They came by truck, motorcycles, and even on foot. No free t-shirts, no handouts, just raw hunger for change. What we are seeing in Cameroon, in Grand North, is that people are really clamoring for change. They are not waiting for any politician to hand them t-shirts or hats. They are coming out in their numbers, some of them barefooted, some of them on the motorcycles and their cars. They are taking on the streets and demanding for a change because they are tired of Paul Biya's regime for over how many decades. It is very tiring and very sad. And we are very supportive of Cameroonian people that are marching forward to say enough is enough. They want a change, and a change they must get. Even members of Biya's government started jumping ship. Two senior ministers, Issa Tichiroma himself and Bello Boba, resigned within days of each other. But only one actually meant it. Boba, the tourism minister, had pulled a similar stunt before, in some years, in 1992, when he split the opposition vote and handed Biya an easy victory. This time too, his refusal to unite with Issa foiled suspicion that his candidacy was another trap to divide anti-Biya's vote. The difference between what is happening now in 2025 and what has happened before in Cameroon is that the people are more aware. The people are now self-aware, and they are not waiting for politicians to unite. They are uniting themselves and demanding for a change. So now it's not about the politicians, it's about the people themselves that are tired of suffering. They are tired of being handed what is not even up to what animals are being given in developed society. They want the basic. They are tired of asking for the basic as if they're asking for too much. For Christ's sake, barest minimums like road. People are clamoring for good water. That is the barest minimum. On October 12, 2025, we started to see videos flood social media spaces of how Cameroonians are standing up and staying up at night to count ballots, because they know that their vote is their voice and they are not ready for any politician to steal their votes. which is the reason why they are standing up and they are staying up at night to ensure that their votes actually count. By late evening, Issa Techiroma appeared on Facebook Live. He was seen smiling from his hometown, and he declared, "Our victory is clear. It must be respected. The people have chosen and they are guarding their ballot box. They are refusing to be intimidated. This victory," he said, "is not that of one man. It is the victory of the people." However, within hours, chaos erupted in Biya's party, the Cameroonian People's Democratic Movement. They dismissed Issa's announcement as false. The Minister of Territory Administration warned that publishing results before the Constitutional Council's approval was high treason. But by then, it was already too late. The damage was done. The people had already heard what they needed to hear, the voice of change breaking through the state's monopoly on every area. In Garoua, hundreds of youths stood guard outside Issa's residence through the night, armed with nothing but sticks and courage. They expected the police to come, but the police never did. Observers whispered of hesitation in the military ranks. After all, many soldiers were young men from the same regions that voted for Issa. Loyalty to Biya had been eroding for years. His army, once his shield, might now refuse to fight for him. By morning, tension was everywhere. Would Biya concede? Would he mobilize the army? Or would this be the beginning of another violent chapter? History offered little comfort. In 2018, when the opposition leader Maurice Kamto declared victory, he was arrested. His supporters were beaten and jailed. But this time, things are feeling very different. The sheer scale of Issa's support and Biya's visible frailty made force a dangerous gamble.